top 10 games that you can purchase at Gen Con 2023. Thank you for joining us at Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Melissa Delp.
And I'm Kevin Delp. Today we are talking about games at Gen Con that you can actually purchase, get.
Hopefully. At least that's
true.
the plan, as long as all the games come as scheduled.
That's right. So we're dividing this video into two categories. So actually you're getting 20 games.
20 games.
But actually you have some honorable mentions at the end. But we're doing something a little different. Tell us.
So what we're going to do for each number is have a game that we have played and recommend. So we're like, hey, this is a good game. And then we're going to have a game that we are anticipating. So one that we haven't played, but the description, the company, the designer, something intrigues us.
The artwork.
Or the artwork. So for each number, so like number 10, you'll get our recommended game first, and then a game that we think might be worth checking out.
And we also have another Gen Con video of our top 10 games that you can demo, but you can't purchase. And I'll put a link to that right up there.
All right, should we start?
Yes, I've already started.
Number 10. So our recommended game for number 10 is Decrypto 5th Anniversary. So this has been out for at least 5 years.
You won't believe it, 5th anniversary, 5 years, Melissa.
We just played this game.
To our shame.
Last month for the first time.
To our shame. Because it is a fun word deduction party game that you can play team versus team. So really any number of players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's an interesting twist on the trying to guess the word type of game because you see the words on your team.
Right.
But you have to give clues that they will order the words in the correct way.
And don't give too obvious of a clue.
Because the other team is listening and they also get chances to order the words even though they don't see your words. So it was a very interesting mental puzzle of how obvious to be and how not obvious to be. And if you have words that are similar in your display, it gets even more tricky.
That is true. We recommend this for two reasons. One, because we've never played it before, and now we definitely recommend the game Decrypto. But maybe you've already played Decrypto, and you're like, oh, why would I buy it? This has 440 new words.
Wow. So Decrypto, that is going to be at Scorpion Mask, which is
a division of Hachette. Yeah.
So go by their booth if you're interested in Decrypto 5th Anniversary.
We're going to move right into the game that we recommend.
All right. No, this is our anticipated game in number 10.
Still recommend it, though. But you haven't played it. Well, we played the...
So this one's kind of, I guess, crosses the line because we have played...
Sort of.
Ex Libris.
Right.
But Renegade Game Studios is coming out with a revised version.
I'm glad they're coming out with a revised version. This needs a revised version.
So it has a bit of worker placement.
Yep.
You're going to different shops that have powers, and then you're collecting these cards with titles of books on them.
Yep.
And you're putting them on your shelf, and you have to arrange them.
The best part are the names of the books.
They are pretty fun.
Yep.
So you're trying to put certain books in different sections. There's a little bit of set collection. The original version had some difficulties with some of the user interface, some of the graphic design, the size of font, and that sort of thing. So in the revised edition, they've adjusted a lot of those things. They're also going to be offering an expansion.
Oh, cool.
So it's the archives, and that will add a 5th player to the game, and it's going to have new locations, special assistants, and artifacts, which are a new thing.
Cool. Check out the Ex Libris 2nd edition.
From Renegade Game Studios.
Number 9. All right, for the game that we would recommend that we've played is My City Roll and Build, and this is from Cosmos, and it's for 1 to 6 players, and it is a legacy. It's a campaign type game where each one takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play each scenario.
So if you're familiar with My City, this is similar to it.
Yeah.
But you have pads of paper instead of a board that you're laying tiles down. You're rolling dice to determine the shapes that you draw. It is a shorter campaign. It only has 12.
Yep. 4
I believe.
chapters. Yeah.
The nice things about it is it plays up to 6 instead of 4. And because it's those little sheets of paper, it's much easier to say, hey, I liked chapter 3, game 3, let's just play that one.
Actually,
and then
I
you
like
can...
chapter 4 better. But
Right. I was just giving a random one. So it would be easier just to play individual games or maybe do the most complex of each chapter for a 4-game campaign. I will say I missed some of the more legacy type aspects of My City because you don't get a lot of that.
In chapter 4 it comes into play a little bit, but yeah, it feels like this is definitely a more basic roll and write game. So I wish it did ramp up. That's why it's a little bit lower on our list here, but still, it's still fun. Still recommend it. It's a good roll and write game. My City Roll and Build.
So for our number 9 anticipated game, we're going with Wandering Towers, and this is from Capstone Games, at least in the US. It's for
2 to 6 players.
2 to 6 players. It's has a design team of...
Oh, I didn't look at this.
Kissling and Kramer.
Oh, cool.
So very popular design team with lots of games that they've worked on together. This is doesn't seem like a very complex game. Plays in about 30 minutes and you have these cardboard towers that are going to be basically moving around in a circle and you're trying to capture other people's meeples, I think.
Okay.
We haven't played it, so we've just seen a little bit of pictures and some descriptions, but I think it's described a little bit as a race game as well.
A little hand management. They said there's some memory involved. You're just trying to get your meeples all the way to the black tower and drop them in there. But the towers move too, so...
Yeah, so you have these like cardboard towers that you're actually moving and stacking and capturing meeples in them. And so it looked like an interesting, low complexity game that plays up to 6, so that's nice when you have a larger group. Number 8. So the game we recommend in our number 8 slot is After Us, and this is being published by Pandasaurus in the United States. It is for 1 to 6 players, plays in about an hour, and it's a hand management game.
Tableau building.
It's kind of, the theme is the apes and monkeys are kind of ruling the world after us.
Yeah, they say deck building in here. There's a little bit, I guess, of deck building where you're trying to get cards into your deck, hence deck building. And
then you lay them out in your tableau, and they have little powers notches on the sides. And so if you can line them up so that they match, you get the benefit. So that was an interesting thing. Like, I have 4 or 5 cards. Which way do I want to arrange them in my tableau so I get the most benefit? Or... you're activating from top, middle to bottom, so order could matter.
It definitely matters.
I need to get the resource before I spend the resource, sort of idea.
And there's different decks that you're pulling from that have different sort of powers. Some of them they go more towards victory points. Melissa did really well on that one.
Lots
There's batteries and other things that you're trying to, resources you're trying to get to. I like
the food to actually recruit the different apes and monkeys.
I like this game. I don't know if I love it, but I think you should play it. And
we've played it once. It was a learning game at a convention, so definitely would want to try it a little bit more to see more of the depth. Now, there's probably another reason that
I was about to say. Vincent Dutray did the artwork! And one of the interesting things about this artwork, specifically, is the box cover. You'll notice, I've noticed 2 currently. One has the Eiffel Tower on the background, and the other has Big Ben.
So we'll see which version.
Well, I think I heard there might be other versions coming out with other cities, like monuments in the background. So it'd be interesting to see what other box covers come. But yeah.
Interesting. So that is After Us at the Pandasaurus booth.
Yep.
Now we're moving on to our number 8 game that we're anticipating. So one that we haven't played, but looks interesting. Kevin has...
Yes. So this is Bonsai. This is from DV Games, and it plays for 1 to 4 players. Takes about 40 minutes to play. So an average length game, not too long, not too short. Just right.
Got some porridge to go with
That's
that.
what I do. A bonsai, there's little trees. It actually means being planted in a pot. I don't think I ever knew that.
Interesting.
Yeah, being planted in a pot.
Learn something new every day.
The game looks like your actions are pretty simple. Either you're deciding to meditate or cultivate in the game. And, I mean, the theme looks cool. The simplicity of mechanics sounds cool. Everything sounds cool about DV Games.
Now, I think Will and Sarah might have played this one. We haven't yet.
No,
So,
we'll have to ask them.
yeah. Bonsai.
Number 7. So our number 7 spot, the game that we recommend that we played is Search for the Lost Species from
Renegade Game Studios.
and some of our favorite designers, Ben Rossett and Matthew O'Malley. Now,
So we played a prototype version of this before
actually,
it went to Kickstarter. Oh, Kevin's looking for it. There it is. Yay! This is a deduction game similar to the Search for Planet X.
mm-hmm.
This one, though, has a board that you're traveling around. So it also has a spatial element in addition to just the pure deduction.
Different theme, too.
Yes, animals, lost species. I love deduction games. I love filling out the little forms.
And when you say deduction, this is much more like mastermind sort of deduction.
Right. Logic, not like a social deduction game.
Yeah.
So kind of logic deduction.
Like you're trying to figure out like what's not there and what is there, and that sort of helps you like deduce down.
The toad can't be next to the snake, so if I know a snake is here, then there are not toads in the hexes next to it, sort of idea.
Wow, we mentioned Ex Libris, and they can just go to Renegade and
there's a lot of great games at the Renegade Games.
So just check them out.
Studios.
Our other game that we'd recommend, or that we anticipate, is a game that's actually been out for a while, but it's coming back in reprint. It's called Sanssouci, and we've never played it, but this is a game from Michael Kiesling.
Yeah, so some of those prominent designers are showing up on the list.
2 to 4 players, plays about 30 to 45 minutes, and you can check it out at the Mayday Games booth.
So I heard it has some tile laying, which I love. Some pattern aspects of it. And what else are we finding in this game, Kevin?
The theme, it's like a flower garden with the Sanssouci Palace, so that really drew me into, like, that sounds fun. And yeah, the tile laying, I think, is what I was like, it's got some sort of classic, like, board game, like, mechanics to it. So, Sanssouci, and check it out, Mayday.
Number 6. So the game we would recommend is Wild Tiled West from Dire Wolf. I believe it's the same designer as did Dune Imperium.
Oh, that's cool. I like that game.
Very different game, though.
I like Wild Tiled West. I played both of them.
So this is for 1 to 5 players. It plays in about an hour to an hour and a half, and it is a tile-laying game.
Yes.
Wild Tiled West. It is kind of interesting. You're going to roll dice, and that's going to determine which tiles are available to draft during that round.
Because they go in like columns and rows, and the dice, and then you can pick tiles from those columns and rows. Yeah.
It has a restrictive element, and sometimes you're like, I really want a cow to put into my little town.
Or you really want to shoot some bandits.
Yeah,
that I wanted to do multiple times.
You really want a sheriff, but none of those tiles are available for that round.
So I think like when that tile comes up in a previous round, you sort of have to plan, I think, a little bit more in this type of a game, because you're like, oh, the sheriff's available to me now. Get it now. Don't wait.
Don't wait. It might not come back.
Because I was like, I'll just get it next round. We played this 2 or 3 times recently, and we have played it with there's an asymmetrical board sides, and some of them give you way more points than others, so just give me a little hint,
yeah, I liked playing
heads up
with the asymmetrical boards, but some of them are like, hey, you get an extra resource. Or, like Kevin's board, hey, I got like 20 extra points. He did have to plan his whole game around doing that.
I did.
But
It did take a lot of strategy. They thought I was just like really like going off this. I basically didn't win any of the tussles, which is basically when you fight the bandits, or how many bandits are left on your board. I didn't win any of them. So I got a lot of negative points, but I got a lot of positive points at the end of the game.
So I feel like that there are different strategies in the game. And there are ways, if you get gold, to be able to potentially get tiles, like skip some of the tiles on the river to get other ones. So I found this very interesting.
They call it claim jumping.
Claim jumping.
Yep.
Wild West theme.
Yeah, so we're not going to really put a review video out for Wild West, but I do like the tile laying. I like the asymmetrical board. There are some restrictiveness that may or may not appeal to others. The restrictiveness didn't appeal to me as much.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it at the very top of my tile laying games. I enjoyed it because I do like tile laying games,
Right.
but there are other ones that I enjoy more.
So that's Wild West from Dire Wolf. You can check it out. The other game that we're in this number that we anticipate is Emerge from Pandasaurus Games. This game is for 2 to 4 players. Takes about 75 minutes to play. What drew me in is dice worker placement.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. I don't really need to say too much more, but the other thing that sounded cool, the theme is these islands are emerging from like
So
the
kinda like
ocean.
Maybe not actual volcanoes, but...
Right, sort of like what a volcano would do. But in the game, it has, like, they say 3-dimensional tiles. So, like, you're stacking tiles on top of each other to create that effect of these these islands emerging. So that 3-dimensionality mixed with the dice worker placement. I love dice worker placement games.
So we haven't played it, but as you can tell, Kevin is excited about this one.
Yes, Emerge from Pandasaurus. Number 5 is Expeditions is the game we're going to recommend that we played from Stonemaier Games.
So at Gen Con, it'll probably be at the Meeple Source booth. But Expeditions is in the world of Scythe, but it's a standalone game that is
Totally
not Scythe.
Yes.
But it has some elements of it. We have done a viewpoints video where a bunch of us talk about the game and our likes and dislikes, so you can definitely check that out for more information. But I really enjoy the variability in the game. The mechs have special powers. Your character has a special power and its companion. So there's a lot of variability based on the combination you get. And then it's card based, and the cards do tons of different things. So your strategy is going to be different each game based on the cards that you gain.
I think I really do like that this is a card-driven game compared to Scythe, which is like, you know, that worker placement type game. This is, or maybe action selection. The card-drivenness of the Expeditions really draws me in, even as you're like tucking the cards underneath your player board to get like either better powers or more points or things like that. I really enjoy that part of the Expeditions. Or in Expeditions.
So what do you think about player count, Kevin?
Yes, player count. I would definitely recommend this at the lower player, medium, 3 to 4 players. Would not recommend this at 5 players because it just takes too long. So if you're okay with taking a long time playing a game that doesn't bother you, then sure, play it at 5. Just for me, it's just like, I can get the same experience at that 3 or 4, and it's not going to be a lengthy game.
Yeah, Kevin definitely is more of a snappy player,
Let's get it done.
So it doesn't bother me as much, but if you have people who are concerned about downtime, maybe not at 5 players.
Speaking of not taking long,
No downtime.
no downtime is our next game that we anticipate.
So we haven't played this one. Will has played this one, and he very much recommends it. So this is on Will's recommendation.
Yeah, but it sounded interesting to me too.
We haven't said the name yet.
I'm about to say it. Mission Control Critical Orbit from 3WS. This is asymmetric, cooperative, roll and write, real-time rescue adventure.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff going on there.
Will sort of compared it to like Captain Sonar meets a roll and write.
Okay.
So
And fully cooperative.
Fully cooperative, you have a flight commander who's in charge of it, and then you have the other 3, you know, if you're playing 4 players, the other 3 are the flight controllers. So it sounds like they're the ones doing all the stuff. So we'll see. I think we mentioned there's going to be a video probably on this. Did you mention that?
I did not mention it. At some point, Will's going to do a playthrough video.
So you can see the real-time nature of this game, Mission Control Critical Orbit.
And I think it's about 20-ish minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So quick.
Quick. That's what I was going to say. This is a quick game compared to Expeditions, which could take a couple hours.
Number 4. So the game we're recommending is Fit to Print from Flat Out Games. We played a prototype of this one before it went to crowdfunding, and this definitely is more of a me game than a Kevin game. It is for 1 to 6 players, plays in about half an hour, but it is real-time tile placement with a newspaper theme with anthropomorphic animals. It's really cute. But you are collecting tiles and then laying them out on your newspaper, and they score by being next to certain things, or they won't score by being next to certain things. And so you're trying to get the layout correct, but it is real time, so you have a time crunch, and your time encompasses collecting tiles and then laying it out. So if you spend too much time collecting, then you have less time to do your layout, or you collect a few, but then you don't have enough tiles during the layout section. I found this one really interesting. There are special powers and bonuses.
And you're playing over a number of rounds, so
it gets bigger. Like the Friday paper is smaller than the Sunday paper, which is larger.
Well, the game that we are anticipating that we haven't played is Number Drop from AEG. This is for 1 to 6 players. Takes about 20 minutes to play. And this is a Tetris-like game. The game is a roll and write game where you are rolling numbered dice and rolling a shape die. And that sort of is telling you what you're placing on your grid, on your paper grid. And you have different goals that you're trying to accomplish. But it definitely is going to feel like Tetris with the different shapes that you're placing.
But you're putting a number in each of those blocks of the shape, and you're trying to get certain combinations of numbers together. So not only is it, I need this shape to fill a line or something, it's I need these numbers to connect together. Yeah,
I like what usually these quick games that AEG puts out, they usually are pretty fun. Their tagline is "We make fun." So, but I do. Usually they pick good games that fit that line. So I'm looking forward to Number Drop over at AEG. Number 3. You won't believe it. Number 3 is 3 Ring Circus.
Did you do that on purpose?
I actually did not do them on purpose, but you mentioned it earlier, so I'm like highlighting it now. Anyway, this is a game for 1 to 4 players. Takes about 45 to 75 minutes to play from Devere Games. This is a majority scoring plus tableau building plus endgame goals sort of thing where you are performing in the United States circus acts, and you are going to get money and get cards that are circus performers, and they give you points. Those cards give you points, and there's different levels of performances.
So basically on your board, you have your 3 rings of your circus, and in each row, when you place performers down, they align from lowest value to highest value. So there are going to be scoring opportunities based on the arrangement of those performers. There are different colors to represent different types, and you may get more points by having, the purple acrobats to the left of the teal whatever. But to do that, you need to make sure that your purple cards are lower value than your teal cards. And so there's a lot of interesting thought processes of which performers you put in which rows, and the prices for them are going to get lower depending on the other things that you have in that row. So I thought the puzzly pattern aspect of that was really interesting.
And then you have small performances, medium performances, what they call main or big performances, and they're small towns, medium cities, and big cities. And they're going to give you either money or points, and depending on which ones you're going to. And the game sort of has this round tracker. You have this Barnum circus caravan that's traveling around the board, so you sort of see the time tracker sort of going.
When it gets here, we're going to do a majority scoring, and I need to get some tents, some performances in the Washington, D.C. area before he gets there, sort of idea.
So the artwork, I think, draws you into the theme. This is like 1800s sort of circus performances, and yeah, I think the gameplay is enjoyable too. I personally recommend this at the higher player count. What about you?
Yes, 3 or 4 players, because it has a lot of that majority scoring and blocking. We played it at 2 and it was fine, but it's definitely more interesting with more players.
Cool.
So now we're going to the games that we anticipate, and we kind of have a line of games for this one, and that's the exit games from Thames and Cosmos. Get more games in, right?
That's right,
more games. So I believe they're going to have their new advent calendar, exit advent calendar available.
It's their 3rd year, maybe 3rd or 4th year.
And you can also usually get some of the previous ones as well. We did one of their advent calendars last year where each day you open a window and have a small 10-minute exit puzzle storyline. We did sometimes do multiples in a day. It's a weekend, some of our friends are coming over, we'll do several.
Yep.
But enjoyed the advent calendar. They should have the new one available. And then one of the new exits caught our eye.
We are big Sherlock Holmes fans, and this one is called The Disappearance of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, no.
You won't believe it. We have to make sure and prove that Sherlock Holmes did not commit the murder.
Ooh,
yes.
Uh-oh. Sherlock Holmes is a suspect.
Oh, no. So, yeah. We like exit games, and the Sherlock Holmes theme sounds fun.
So definitely stop by if you like the escape room style games, and especially if you like exits. Number 2. So the game we recommend is World Wonders from Arcane Wonders. Mm-hmm. It's for 1 to 5 players, plays in about an hour, maybe a little bit more. And this is a tile laying game. We played a kind of prototype pre-production-ish copy at Dice Tower East. There are these wooden chunky wonders that you're trying to build. It's basically a tile laying game where you have a certain amount of money or action points, and you can spend them on different tiles or spend them to go first or spend them on more roads to build. And as you lay the tiles down, certain combinations and configurations will allow you to build these wonders into your city area board.
City.
Board. So each player has their own board that they're building.
You have your own board, and you can have as many wonders as you want.
Wonders are going to be worth points.
Yeah.
You're going to have points for surrounding your buildings. There are different types of the tiles, different colors, and so there's definitely a spatial aspect of where can I fit these things and making sure that I can put it on the board. Now, there's only going to be a limited number of copies.
Make sure you said that. Yeah, so we talked to Arcane Wonders, and they said they're air shipping in just a few to get. I don't want to say a certain. Yeah, I don't want to say a certain number, but we heard a number, but we'll see how many they can actually get in. So I would recommend definitely going to their booth and getting a copy of World Wonders. It's a fun game to play, especially if you like tile laying games.
It will be available after Gen Con, after a certain amount of time in retail. But if it's something that you want right away, definitely stop by the Arcane Wonders booth early on.
Yeah. The other one on this number that we would that we're anticipating is Next Station Tokyo. Now, we played Next Station London, which actually is a nomination for the Spiel, which I hope wins. Well, we don't know yet. We liked that game with the sort of like roll and write game where you are
kind of a flip.
Yeah, flip and write, where you're tracing routes. In that one was London, and the new one Tokyo, and it was sort of thematic because it had the Thames River in London, and you got points based on where you were on the board on your map. So we'll see what they do with Tokyo.
Yeah, we play the advanced version where basically each round you use a different colored pencil because it's a different subway line, metro line, tube, whatever.
Tube. Yeah.
And we played where each one had a special power or benefit. So
totally worth it.
This is Blue Orange Games is going to have Next Station Tokyo. Like we said, we played London, which is going to be, I believe, similar to Tokyo. We really enjoyed it, so we are anticipating this version.
And it's 1 to 4 players. It plays in about 20 to 30 minutes. Sorry to say that.
Yep, so it's a pretty quick game.
Number 1.
So we are recommending Barcelona from Board and Dice. This is for 1 to 4 players. Plays in about an hour and a half.
Yeah, definitely.
This is probably one of the heaviest games on our list.
But not as heavy as most Board and Dice games.
Yes, it's definitely not as heavy as Taiwan Tensuyu. This one is a Euro game. It has aspects of worker placement where you are putting tokens on this main board, and depending on where you put the tokens, you get the actions from the row and the column and the row.
Possibly.
And possibly the diagonal.
Depending on where you're placing them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There may be a cost for placing in certain places, or certain places may be blocked by other players being there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very interesting deciding where to put your people to get the actions that you needed.
Or what actions you want to do.
Right. And as you place people on the board, it opens up the option to build buildings on the board. So you're also thinking about, do I want to build a building? Do I want to avoid setting Kevin up to build a really nice building? So there was layers of thinking about what to do.
And there's a lot of different ways of getting points in the game. I think that's what I liked about it. I want to say point salad, but it's definitely, there's different ways. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that. I think you like that in games too.
I like where you can try different things and get points by going heavy this way or going heavy this way, maybe dabbling a little bit in other things.
And the Barcelona theme, it's fun. Very bright colors and just vivid on the board, and so I really appreciate that Board and Dice did a good job.
And based on the history of rebuilding the city.
Yeah, I'd say mid 1800s, maybe 1860s. So there's cloth was really big in Barcelona. So there's one of the resources in the game is cloth. So
I will actually be at the Board and Dice booth.
Yeah.
I think the plan right now is for me to be there from 12 to 2 each day. So kind of helping them out, doing some demos, and allowing them to get some lunch.
It's all you, Melissa.
Hopefully not just me.
Cool. Well, check out Barcelona at Board and Dice.
Come say hi to me.
Come say hi to Melissa. What's our one that we are anticipating?
So our number 1 anticipated game for Gen Con is actually an expansion.
That's okay.
It is the Missing Expedition expansion to Lost Ruins of Arnak from CGE.
I love Lost Ruins of Arnak.
We love Lost Ruins. We love the first expansion that brings in the leaders.
You can't play it any other way.
Yeah, those asymmetric powers and decks are pretty awesome. So this expansion is going to have 2 new leaders.
Okay.
It has 2 new research tracks. It's going to have more of the artifacts, the items, the assistants, so a little bit more for the variety there. And then it is bringing in a campaign that you can either unlock the items through this campaign, or you can just add them into...
It's sort of like a modular.
Yes. Okay. But the campaign is co-op for 1 or 2 players.
Okay.
So depending on how you like to play your games, this is an option. It has... I think 6 games, and each game kind of has some different rules and goals, and I believe unlocks some of the extra stuff in the expansion.
And then you can find that at the CGE booth.
Yes, well, they don't have a booth.
Room.
They have a room upstairs. Highly recommend going by their room. They're running demos. They have events. Yeah. In the past, Kevin and I have demoed for CGE. Great company. We love almost all of their games. Yeah. There are a few that don't fit our particular play style, but great games, great company. Really love what they're doing at CGE.
We have a few honorable mentions here at the end of our video, some that we've played and some we haven't played. One that we have played is Rome in a Day from Alley Cat Games. This is a short little quick game, 2 to 5 players. It has this I split, you choose mechanic where you're splitting tiles and you're basically saying, which ones do you want? And then you're building your own little Rome. and getting points with different regions that you're scoring.
Yeah, we played this at Dice Tower East, and it was, like Kevin said, a quick little game where you're going to have these little buildings, tokens, and then the tiles, and you're trying to get the same colors next to each other. So there were definitely some tense moments of, oh, I want both of these. I really hope my neighbor doesn't pick this one.
Yeah, that's a good little I split you choose. What else do we got?
So, Junk Drawer from 25th Century Games. Yeah. This was on crowdfunding, and now it is going to be available. It is I think it's a flip and tile lay game. You have a junk drawer, and you're trying to fill it in different ways to get points.
But you're not writing anything. You're just literally playing tiles. Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting trying to get the tiles in the right spots, and sometimes you're like, oh, I really want that tile. Oh, but it needs to go in this part of the drawer instead of that part of the drawer. Yeah. So sometimes there's a little bit of tension there of, yay, it finally came up, but no, it has to go in the wrong spot. Yep. Lots of ways to score. A fun little game if you like tiling.
Last Light from Grey Fox Games. We played it. We've done videos on it. We saw it at Dice Tower East. We're not sure if it's going to be like just demoed or actually available to purchase. But it's a fun, fast 4X game. And
Roy Kennedy from Dice Tower was the designer. It has the little lollipop planets, so great table presence. Yeah.
I love it a lot. So
it's a little bit more of a Kevin game than my game, but I would say of the 4X type, I would play this.
Yeah, you do. You play this. And the last one we're just going to mention as an honorable mention is Lorcana, which
Lorcana.
Thank you, Melissa. Disney's Lorcana. And this is a game that you can purchase at Gen Con. We heard Ravensburger say that they're going to have plenty of copies. Well, who knows? Who knows?
We know there's lots of buzz about it, so I'm sure the attendees who are really excited about it will be getting over there for demos and then to purchase the packs of cards with the different Disney characters.
So that's over 20 games that we talked about, Melissa.
A lot of games. And there's so much more. That's right. So much more.
But we narrowed it down to the best ones.
So thanks for watching. Let us know, are you interested and excited about any of the games on our list? Or maybe we left off ones that you would say, hey, why wasn't this game on your list?
On our list.
Yeah. Kevin, Melissa, you don't know anything.
I don't know nothing.
Let us know in the comments what you think and what you're excited about from the Gen Con releases, whether or not you're going to the convention.
And we would love for you to like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel.